Hello, BookTube. Who's up for a little mail? We haven't done mail in quite some time, thanks to my illness interruption. But that seems to be abating just a bit, which is great. It's long overdue. So let's see. And you know, I probably have myself to blame for how long it lasted. I am not good at taking care of myself at all and that sort of thing. Like for instance, I went out just a couple of days ago when I was feeling really, really bad. I went out. I had one errand that I absolutely could not put off. So I had to dress up and bring a handkerchief and go out in the rain and get on the subway. Of course, I have a subway story as well. I was on the subway. It was waiting there to fill up with passengers before it pulled out. Once again, same as last time. And I was sitting there minding my own business. I was reading. I was reading a Regency romance. I was trying to anyway. I was feeling really miserable, but I was trying to concentrate. It was a Regency romance. I'm not quite done with it, actually. It's called The Waltzing Widow. And it's so far really pleasing me because the main romance plot line is not between the beautiful young woman who is making her debut in society, but between the handsome lord and her mother. And it is turning out to be a wonderfully done relationship where we are being told that he is finding the mother fascinating because she considers herself very comfortably and very happily to be an old maid. And so she does not approach this guy with any of the falseness or the pretense that all other women do in the marriage mart. So I was sitting there and I was enjoying it. And a guy walked on to the subway, plenty of people getting on. A guy walked on to the subway and sat 2 seats over from me on the same side. And he was carrying one of those enormous plastic cups of caffeinated milkshakes, these 1,000,000-calorie things that Starbucks sells in America as some kind of coffee or cafe or whatever. The Americans chug this stuff. It's just unbelievable. But, he had one of those things filled to the brim, gigantic thing. He'd obviously just bought it. He sat down 2 seats over from me. I wasn't paying much attention to him, but you're on the subway, you have to pay attention to everybody just a bit. And he uncorked the top of the thing, took a sip, and then set it down on the seat in between us. It's probably this tall. Without capping it again. As soon as he did that, I immediately closed my book and stood up. Stood, against a wall. Not far away. I wasn't trying to make him feel bad. I immediately stood up and walked away. I didn't want to be next to that thing. And I didn't walk too far away. I was still close enough so that he could speak to me, and he did. He looked up and said, why are you walking away? And I said, because the instant this train starts moving, that cup is going to spill all of its contents onto the seat. And he said, buddy, I've done this lots of times. The cup's not going to spill. I said, okay, great. And then I started reading again, and a few minutes later, the car, the doors closed, and the driver announced that we were heading out of the station, and the car moved, and instantly the cup spilled all of its contents. It didn't just soak the seating material, it also filled the concave depression of the seat. There was a little brown lake there. That happened instantly. It wasn't like we needed to slow down at another stop. The minute there was any motion at all, the cup spilled all of its contents, probably $7 worth of junk, onto the seat. And I noticed, of course, everybody noticed, because it was a really bad spill. But I swear, I did nothing other than notice. I lifted my head and looked at the spill, and the guy looked at me, saw me notice the spill, and immediately said, F you. And I didn't respond. I didn't say anything. I didn't go anywhere. I just stood there. I went back to reading. But the fact that he was not only blaming me for a simple mistake that could easily have been prevented that he made, but was also angry about it, is 2019 America in one moment, in one single anecdote. I found it incomprehensible, but there you go. There's your subway story. Those of you who aren't in America are never going to take the orange line, and you probably shouldn't. So what is this first one that we've got here? Now that we're meandering back to books. It doesn't have a pub sheet, but it's a novel. It comes out in March. It's by Matt Ruff, and it's called 88 Names. So what have we got here? John Chu is a Sherpa, a paid guide to online role-playing games like the popular Call to Wizardry. That's not real, though, right? The author made that up. For a fee, he and his crew will provide you with a top-flight character equipped with the best weapons and armor and take you dragon-slaying in the realms of Asgarth, hunting rogue starships in the Alpha Sector or battling hordes of undead in the zombie apocalypse. Chu's new client, the pseudonymous Mr. Jones, claims to be a wealthy, famous person with powerful enemies, and he's offering a ridiculous amount of money for a comprehensive tour of the world of virtual reality gaming. For Chu, this is a dream assignment, but as the tour gets underway, he begins to suspect Mr. Jones is really North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. Okay. Whose interest in VR gaming has more to do with power than entertainment. As if that wasn't enough to deal with, Chu also has to worry about Mrs. Pang, who may or may not be an agent of the People's Republic of China, and his angry ex-girlfriend, Darla Jean Covington, who isn't the type to let international intrigue get in the way of her own plans for revenge. Okay. All right. Great. All right, I'm on board. So this is gaming reality, virtual reality fiction that will come out in March. Okay, that's a fine start. Let's move on. Let's do this next one. Oh, right. Okay. This has no pub sheet either, but this is a curious thing. It's a hardcover bound short story. I'm sure that the publisher will call it otherwise. I'm sure the publisher will call it a novella or even a novel, but it is just a short story. Oh no, it's called a short story right on the cover. Okay, let's hope that's true, because that's what it is. It's let's see here. You're going to want details. Yes, it's well under 100 pages. It's by Mary Gateskill. It's called This Is Pleasure, a story. And it is a Me Too story, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the effervescent, well-dressed Quinn, a successful book editor and fixture on the New York art scene, has been accused of repeated, unforgivable transgressions towards women in his orbit. But are they unforgivable? And who has the right to forgive him? To Quinn's friend Margot, the wrongdoing is less clear. Alternating Quinn's and Margot's voices and perspective, Gateskill creates a nuanced tragicomedy, one that reveals her characters as whole persons, hurtful and hurting, infuriating and touching, and always deeply recognizable. So this is not a writer that I like, and I'm hoping that this changes that, so I will gulp this down. I don't have a pub sheet, but it's a finished copy. I'm pretty sure that this is a November release, so I'm not quite sure the date. I don't remember it well enough. But great. All right, so two fiction. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm still hoping for a little nonfiction. Let's see what this next one is. I've got a beam on the ready to destroy these packages. Okay. All right, no nonfiction yet. This is also upcoming 2020 fiction. This is February. It's Scott Carson, which is a pen name, and it is The Chill. Yeah, this is this is a pen name of apparently a prolific and best-selling author. I have yet to even sample the prose, so I cannot make a guess. Oh, just by the subject matter, I can sort of guess who I think the number one candidate would be, but the prose will tell the tale immediately, if that's the case. So let's see here. The Chill may be set far from the ocean shore, but this captivating novel proves that it's still not safe to go back in the water. Boy, that movie tagline is just never going to die. That's incredible. In this pseudonymous thriller from an award-winning New York Times bestselling author and screenwriter, Scott Carson blends supernatural terror with all too plausible threat to New York City's survival, creating a tale of urban eco-horror. Set in motion a century ago in the waters of the Chilliwackee Reservoir, called the Chill by the locals. And the reservoir was made, it drowned a town. And there are such towns, there are such places. But according to this book, some of the residents of the town didn't leave. I wonder if you're going to get any of that, no? Okay, the pub sheet is entirely about the reservoir. We don't want to know that, though, do we? Far upstate in New York's ancient forests, A drowned village lies beneath the dark, still waters of the Chilliwackee Reservoir. Early in the 20th century, the town was destroyed for the greater good, bringing water to the millions living downstate, or at least that's what the politicians insisted at the time. The local families settled there since before America's founding were forced from their land, but they didn't move far, and some didn't move at all. And of course, now is when some ancient evil reawakens. This is the kind of juicy thing that, in premise anyway, sounds fantastic. So we shall see. It will all be about the execution, of course. So let's see this next one. We do end with a box this time around. So what have we got here? Oh, okay. Looks like two things from Minotaur Books. They are a great publisher of murder mysteries. This first one is a January release. This is The Mitford Murders by Jessica Fellows. Her apparently ongoing series of murder mysteries set in the early 20th century, starring the Mitford sisters. I don't know how that would work, and yet these novels do work. I've read two of them, and they do work. They shouldn't, under any circumstances, work as the Mitfords as sleuths. It's just unbelievable. It's totally unbelievable. But somehow or other, Jessica Fellows makes it work. Oh yeah, okay. This has a million blurbs. Does it have anything in the way of a description of the book? This comes out in January, late January. Okay, it's 1920, and Louisa Cannon dreams of escaping her life of poverty in London. Louisa's salvation is a position within the Mitford household at Asthall Manor in the Oxfordshire countryside. There she will become nursemaid, chaperone, and confidant to the Mitford sisters, especially 16-year-old Nancy, an acerbic, bright young woman in love with stories. But then a nurse, Florence Nightingale Shore, goddaughter of her famous namesake, is killed on a train in broad daylight, and Louisa and Nancy find themselves entangled in the crimes of a murderer who will do anything to hide their secret. And this comes out, The Mitford Murders comes out as a hardcover in January, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it. There's a couple of Mitford-related stuff, a couple of Mitford-related books coming out in 2020 that look really interesting. So, okay, I don't know what all that noise is. I'm hoping that you can hear it too. I've had a very weird few days. Could be groundskeepers. They just never let up, even in the pouring rain. And then this next one is it's a great thing to see because it's been a while. This is a Claire Ferguson novel from Julia Spencer Fleming, Hid from Our Eyes. It's been a good while since this author wrote one of these, I think. Yeah, the wait is over. The new Julia Spencer Fleming mystery is here, and it's a standout. Upstate New York police chief Russ Van Alstyne and Episcopalian priest Claire Ferguson are figuring out how to take care of their newborn son as they manage their own fraught careers at the start of this book, which comes out in April as a hardcover. For Russ, the defunding of his police department may lead to the town of Miller's Kill losing its cops. In the midst of this, the body of a young woman is found in a situation similar to not one but two local cold cases. One of the cold cases is very old, it dates from 1952, and the other cold case dates from 1972 and involved our characters as young people. So, and neither of those cases were solved, and now there's a third. Now, in the present day, there's a third one. In the present day, Russ will enlist the help of his police squad and Claire to finally solve these crimes before he's pulled from the case and the state police take over. And the author lives in a 190-year-old farmhouse in Maine. And I wonder if this pub sheet's going to tell me how long it's been, because it's been a while. Oh, never mind. Okay, the pub sheet isn't going to tell me. The author is. This is my 9th book, and launching it is different from previous books. Usually an author gets a variety of questions about a novel. For this one, there's only one question: what took so long? It's been 6 years since the last Claire Ferguson story. As readers have pointed out, Claire, pregnant in the last book, ought to have a kindergartner by now. Okay, great. Well, better late than never. So So this comes out, what did I say? April. And this is a good series, so I'm glad to see it back. And then this next one, we have had no nonfiction. This has all been fiction. I'm praying that you can all hear me. As soon as we get done with the box, I'll stop until the groundskeepers are gone. Okay, finally. Finally, we get to some nonfiction. And it looks like it's 2019 nonfiction. Yes, it is. It's October 29th is the date on this thing. This is the finished copy of Elizabeth Hennessy's On the Backs of Tortoises. Darwin, the Galapagos, and the Fate of an Evolutionary Eden. An insightful exploration of the iconic Galapagos tortoises and how their fate is inextricably linked to our own. In a rapidly changing world. I just can't catch a break. I do a mail haul, I get interrupted. I do another mail haul, I get sick for a week. I do another mail haul, and there's a guy with a leaf blower directly beneath the window. See. So anyway, the Galapagos archipelago is often viewed as the last foothold of pristine nature. For 60 years, conservationists have worked to restore this evolutionary Eden after centuries of exploitation at the hands of pirates, whalers, and island settlers. And this is all about that. Fantastic. Do we have color photos? No, we don't. But we have lots and lots of black and white photos. Wow, this is going to be more than just a study of conservation on the Galapagos. It's going to be a study of the history of conservation on the Galapagos. Fantastic. All right, well, October 29th is today, so I need to, bump that right to the head of the list. Just wonder why it took so long. Never got an advance copy either, if I remember correctly. Oh well, let's see. You shouldn't complain about free books in the mail, right? I had plenty of tart emails from the rest of you on that subject. So, oh, great. Okay. All right, this is also a 2019 release. This comes out in mid-November. We've seen the advance copy. I recommended it. This is Adam Mars Jones' Second Sight. This is the finished copy of his collected writings on movies, going back 30 years. And he's a terrific writer, just terrific deadline prose writer. So this is, a lot of the people who are in here are, a lot of the auteurs who are in here are written about with adulation by him are people who I could see their entire works burned in the public square in Florence. I wouldn't care at all. But it doesn't, including, but it doesn't matter because of the joy of the writing. Oh, you're back. I'm assuming you can still hear me, and I'll jot all these things down below if I remember, so you won't have to worry about it. Good Lord. But anyway, that's what this is. We've seen this already, so I don't need to belabor it. This comes out in mid-November. Those of you who are film buffs and want to see film writing done really well, accessibly well, not in the dumb new school criticism style, could do much worse than to read Adam Mars Jones. And then we do this last one, and then we'll be off. Let this guy leaf blow to his heart's content. This is the box. So let's see. It's almost certainly be a finished copy. I know what it won't be, unfortunately. I know all sorts of things that finished copy hardcovers that I would like to get in boxes right around now. Unfortunately, all of them come from Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics and DC Comics, who, no matter how I importune them, they will not send me review copies of anything. And I don't understand that. I have a very large-ish audience in print and online. You people count as part of that, and when I write about comic books, I am pretty interesting about them. You give me an anthology of 30-year-old reprint comics that you're selling for $150, I can find you a broad interest public audience for that, and you'd think, but anyway, it's not going to be that. Oh, great. Okay. This is the University of Chicago Press. This also comes out in mid-November. It won't need much of an explanation. There aren't any leaves out there. Give a man a leaf blower, and he will make a lot of noise until a neighbor calls the police. I have seen it many times in my 28 years, where police are called and they come and the cop walks over to the guy with the leaf blower who's aiming it at concrete, and the cop will ostentatiously rest a hand on his holstered pistol and tell the person, stop doing that and go on your way. And you can see in the leaf blower's face, is it worth it? this might actually be the way that I want to die. This cop is obviously going to shoot me in the head if I don't do this. I've obviously incited many dozens of complaints because I've been standing here with this unbelievably loud object blowing hot air at concrete for the last hour. But I'm not sure. Maybe this is the way that I want to die. Maybe I should just point the leaf blower at him. That would cause a Boston cop to kill you. But anyway, so that we don't need to belabor this too much. I mean, I can show you. It's the standard thing. You've seen plenty of examples of this sort of thing, so have I. This is just going to be a full-blown survey of dogs in art from the very beginning, probably from cave paintings, all the way to the present day. And that, oh yeah, okay, not quite cave paintings, but Egyptian sarcophagi, that sort of thing. That's fine by me. I eat these things up. I love them. So there you go. November by Susie Green. So I'm going to wrap this up because it's God's own noise here. So we have Dogs in Art. We have Second Sight by the great Adam Mars-Jones. We have On the Backs of Tortoises. Looks like it could be a really good book about the Galapagos. Then we have Hid from Our Eyes, the new Julia Spencer Fleming book. The new Mitford Sister mystery. The Chill by Scott Carson. We shall see who Scott Carson is. I shall make some educated guesses. Then This Is Pleasure, a hardcover short story by Mary Gateskill, a little bit odd as a way to put it out. And 88 Names by Matt Ruff, which I had heard about as a VR novel, but I have to confess the pub sheet made it sound unmissably good. So, I mean, we shall see. I won't get to it, in 2019. But there's quite a few things. The Tortoise book has to go today. I have to read that today. And the Dogs in Art book won't take any time at all to do. So I'm gonna wrap this up. Sorry for the noise, but at least it's good to see your face again. I will be back when things calm down. Thank you, BookTube.